field. Can they do it again? Yes, they can!
And the catch is made by Taj Washington. Touchdown, USC.
Blocked by Embiid! Timmy, yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Beef Up Front podcast here on Pick Swap Media. This is your host, Ryan Coyle, back with another episode as part of our lead up to the NBA draft, where we will be doing a prospect profile series. And if you can't see on the screen already, make sure to check that out. Today's episode will be on my number 2 overall prospect in this NBA draft, and that's Brandon Miller. And Brandon Miller is a player that was the headliner, I think, of the college basketball season, because of his on-the-court play, but also because of the situation off the court with the murder or what went down. Not still exactly sure what Miller's role was in the whole unfortunate incident that took the life of a young woman. But on the court, he was the best college basketball player, I think, this year. I mean, you could say Zach Edey was, but I think Brandon Miller, prospect-wise at least, was the best player in college basketball. And I think Brandon Miller, I kind of led the train in terms of hyping him up on Twitter for Pick Swap Media. This was a guy that really caught my eye at the beginning of the season. I saw him a few times. I was like, all right, this is a pretty intriguing guy. And then you see this tweet below. This was against, I believe, Gonzaga on like a Saturday in December. And he lit it up that game. I was like, all right, this dude is legit. This dude is the real deal. And I'm really excited to see what he's able to do going forward. Really high on this kid, and I think that he has the potential to be the second best player in this class behind Victor Wembanyama. Not much bad to say about him. A complete player that can shoot the ball, can rebound, can handle, can defend, and can pass, all at 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan. Not a top-tier athlete and has some potential finishing at the rim questions, but as well as the off-court incident, let's see if he's able to get cleared up and teams are full proof that he's not going to get himself involved in those types of situations going forward. I think he's a clear-cut number 2 guy in the class ahead of Scoot Henderson. The freshman out of Alabama, as I said, 6'8", 200 pounds, 7-foot wingspan, 20 years old already, though. Did play 32 minutes a game, made 6 field goals a game for 13.9 attempts, shot 43% from the field, shot 38% from deep, making about 3 on 7.5 attempts per game. Shot 86% from the line, so certainly translatable numbers there. 8.2 rebounds, which is very attractive, with his 18.8 points per game and his 2.1 assists per game, and about a block and about a steal per game as well. So a player that checks all the boxes and able to do it all on the court. His strengths, lethal shooter at 6'8" from 3 and the ideal NBA wing body. I mean, this is a guy that 6'8" can really shoot the ball. Got the length and the height to shoot over the defenders without being bothered. And really, that's what you're looking for in today's NBA. You look at all the dominant wings we have. Like Jason Tatum is like the first guy to come to mind. You look at like a Paul George, who he's been compared to as well. Shot 40% on the catch and shoot threes this year and 48% unguarded. So you know he is a reliable knockdown guy. And I also think he's good enough off the ball that you can run action for him, whether it's pin down, dribble handoff, stuff like that to free him up for open looks. Very effective, though, watching this film coming off dribble handoffs and just, all right, if he gets a dribble handoff and the defender gets caught under or he's chasing, he's really good at just being able to stop, pop, set his feet and get a shot off, and it's going in most of the time. So, and he's also just not a one-trick pony on the offensive end of the floor either in terms of just being able to shoot threes and make shots from the beyond the arc. He can score off the dribble at all 3 levels. He creates excellent space in the half court, I think, as well. And I think he's also very good in the pick and roll where he burns defenders when involved. If they go under his screens, which they're stupid too, he's really good at just being able to stop and pop and pull up right there. Or if they get caught trying to like chase over him, he's able to push that dribble out, that side dribble, and get enough space where he can hit the pull up 3 from the beyond the arc as well. So he does have some things to work on, but it's hard to find many holes in his game because he just plays with like such a mature and advanced pace already for a young kid at 20. Great pace with the ball in his hands, makes some really, really nice passes as well. I think he's really underrated as a playmaker only 2.1 assists per game, but when you turn on the film and watch his tape, makes some really eye-popping passes with both hands. He's able to whip the ball across the court or make nice passes on or reads on the pick and roll. Just such an attractive thing for him to have in his game, because we see it more and more. These wings are having the ball in their hands at the end of the game. We're going more and more away from like the traditional point guard type role where, all right, he's going to get us into our offense. No, it's getting inbounded to Jason Tatum. It's getting inbounded to Jimmy Butler. It's getting inbounded to Giannis or whoever, and you're going to go create your own shot. And I think he's good enough to do that. But if he's getting trapped, if he's getting doubled, which teams like to do at the end of the games as well, he's good enough to make the right reads and make some really nice passes as well. So, and he can really watching him pass the ball, his ability to whip it across court, like off pick and rolls and whatnot, when he gets that read and he's got guys open cross court in the corner, I think that's the best part of his passing. Like super good speed on those passes. There's no loft or worry about it at all. So really good at hitting cutters, and he's a willing defender. You see that, and he's got the ideal frame at 6'8", 7-foot wingspan, and a really willing rebounder as well. You see 8.2 rebounds per game. It's a guy that for most of the year was being talked about as a top 5 pick, was just a really good scorer as well. He didn't have to go buy in on the defensive end or rebound, and he did show the ability to do that. So really like his all-around game, and I think that's why I like him a little bit more than Scoot Henderson at number 2. And in terms of his weaknesses, has a bit of a dip and like a low release in a shot. When you see some other guys catch it in this class, some of the really good shooters, they're just catch, fire right away. He kind of brings it down and then goes up with it, and it's still a little bit of a low release point. Hasn't really bothered him yet much or affected him yet much because of his ability to shoot over guys and just being the most dominant player in college basketball this year, probably outside of Zach Edey. But that is a little bit of a concern for me and doesn't allow him to have like the quickest release. So I think that's something he might have to clean up, just being able to catch and fire, not having that little tuck, that little dip down. Needs to improve his quickness and speed at times when coming off screens. I think he can be a little bit slow and not lackadaisical, but when you watch other guys like Jordan Hawkins run off screens, and he's a different breed when it comes to running off screens, but that's what should running off the ball look like. And Brandon Miller can be a little bit slow and kind of walk through it at times, and you're not going to be able to get open in the NBA playoffs like that. So several instances as well when watching him where he makes a nice move and gets by defenders, but doesn't have that like next level gear to get up and over the rim to finish on someone, whether it's a dunk or a layup. Like he can finish at the rim. He does have some nice length, but if he's going in there and meeting Joel Embiid, I don't think he's got that ability to. Not many people do get up and over and finish over him with a dunk, but at least get up and give myself a chance at the rim. Like he kind of needs like a bit of a runway, I think, to have that ability to take off and dunk. He doesn't have like, oh, I just need one step to get up there and be an explosive leaper like a guy like Cam Whitmore does. So not the highest level athlete, but still serviceable enough. Very skilled, though, I think, which makes up for the lack of top-tier athleticism. Just my biggest question with him, can he consistently finish around the rim and improve that athleticism to be able to punish defenders at the rim? Can he be able to just go up and put guys on posters? I think that's going to be the difference between like a 21, 22 point per game scorer to like a fringe all-star to a guy who's a perennial all-star, and we look at him as one of the best wings in the league. I think that's the part of his game that he needs to improve the most to take him to that next level. Become a better athlete, become a better finisher at the rim, and I think he goes from a fringe all-star type player to a perennial all-star type guy and one of the better players in the entire NBA. I think he does have that potential if he can clean up those parts of his game. That with also combining his weight, I think will all ultimately determine, adding some weight to that frame will ultimately determine his ceiling at the next level. So my projection for him, a top 3 pick, it's going to be Wembanyama, Brandon Miller most likely, as long as all the off-court background stuff checks out, and Scoot Henderson in the top 3. Wembanyama at 1 and either Miller or Henderson at 2. It remains to be seen what goes on there. So my comparison for him, I'm going to go with Brandon Ingram. People were throwing around Paul George said at the beginning, and they were talking like pre-injury Paul George from before he had the gruesome leg injury where he was a really good athlete. I don't think Brandon Miller has that high-level athleticism to him. I think he's got the nice Brandon Ingram game, ability to shoot from the outside, like a longer, skinny guy, able to defend as well, and Ingram's really improved as a playmaker as well. Had a couple triple-doubles this year after not having any earlier in his career. So if you're getting Brandon Ingram, if you're the Hornets and you're taking him and you're getting Brandon Ingram essentially and pairing him with LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges is coming back, PJ Washington's still there. I like the future there in Charlotte. Or if you're adding Brandon Miller to a team that already has Anfernee Simons, Shaden Sharp, two really good athletes, Damian Lillard, the vet there, the alpha, the scorer, and then you throw in a guy like Brandon Miller who might not need to be the most athletic player because he's got really good athletes like Simons and Shaden Sharp there with him already. I think that would be a good fit as well. So either team, I think, is a good spot for him. And I do think he has a really successful career in the NBA. It's just, is he able to, like I said, improve that athleticism that allows him to become a better finisher and more elite player at the rim? I think that's going to ultimately determine the ceiling of what we see out of Brandon Miller. But I think as long as he doesn't get involved in those off-court incidents anymore, he's such a good shooter and such a growing playmaker, able to rebound, defend. I think he's got a great NBA career ahead of him. So that'll do it for today's episode featuring Brandon Miller. Please make sure to check out all the other episodes as part of our prospect profile series, and we will talk soon.